Hey, welcome to the Empowered and Free podcast. My name is Erin Kimbrell, and I'm a counselor, certified life coach, breathwork coach, and small town mom of two. I know firsthand what it feels like to live with high functioning anxiety. For most of my life, I had so much mental mess, anxiety, people pleasing, perfectionism, overthinking, constant worrying, and never feeling good enough. On my decade-long journey to feeling better, I've learned how to take back my life from high-functioning anxiety and helped others to do the same through my coaching and breathwork programs. Now I want to share everything I know with you. This podcast will help you feel empowered over your high-functioning anxiety and free to finally live the life of your dreams. Now, grab a cup of coffee, get comfy, and dive into the episode. I'm Erin Kimbrell, and this is the Empowered and Free podcast. Hey, friend. Today we are talking about why avoiding anxious thoughts doesn't actually work. And maybe you've noticed yourself doing this. Maybe you've noticed yourself trying to avoid your anxiety, to shove it away, to pretend it's not there. All of those things are actually really counterproductive. So today we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the two tricks your anxious brain plays on you. We're going to talk about why avoiding your anxiety actually makes you focus on it more. And lastly, I'm going to share with you a helpful technique, a way to actually reduce your anxiety. Let's get into it. If you listen to episode 14 about what anxiety really is and why it happens, then you know that anxiety is simply an alarm in our body. It is your body's way of saying, hey, something's wrong, right? I'm sending you a message. I need you to listen. Anxiety is a messenger. It connects the thoughts that you're having in your mind to the feelings in your body and sends those signals through, and they come through as anxiety. When we avoid the anxious feelings that we have in our body, all of our signals that anxiety is sending, those anxious thoughts just grow louder and louder. And we know what happens is it just perpetuates that anxiety cycle over and over and over. So the more you avoid, the more you feel anxious. That's what I want you to hear. If that feels like a new concept to you, check out episode 15 where I break down the vicious cycle of anxiety. Today, I'm going to teach you two tricks that the brain plays on you. Go ahead and get your notebooks ready because this is probably some new information that you've never heard. The first trick that the brain plays on you is called a frequency illusion. And what a frequency illusion is, it's what we call a cognitive bias. Now, you guys know that I have a training as a counselor. That's what my professional education is in. And a cognitive bias is simply a way that the mind thinks. Okay. So that's why I say it's a trick the brain plays. But now, once you learn the trick, you'll notice it a little bit more. So frequency illusion is simply the idea that when you notice something new, maybe it's just something that's new to you. This could be a word. This could be a type of car, a type of house, new shoes that you want to get. It could be anything, right? When you notice something new, all of a sudden your brain pays attention to that. Your brain becomes aware of that everywhere you go. And you might have noticed that. Let's go with the shoes example. Let's say that you've wanted this pair of shoes, or you just finally see these pair of shoes. You're like, oh, those are cool. Huh. What happens? You start noticing those shoes everywhere. You go in public, everybody has these shoes on. You see Instagram or Facebook, everybody has these shoes on. You start noticing those everywhere. The reality is, this is not happening more often. Your brain is just simply more aware and you're noticing it more. When something is top of mind, when it's something that we're thinking about often, we begin to notice it more. This is the frequency illusion. Here's another quick example. My sister is having twin boys. So excited about that, you guys. We do not have twins in our family. So this was we are mind blown and just over the moon excited for these boys. And so naturally, these twin boys are on my mind a lot. Now, every person I hear that's having a baby is having a boy. It seems like, right? And that's only in my mind. That's not true. I know that there's obviously just as many girls being born as boys, but the ones that I'm noticing are the boys. And this is simply because of that frequency illusion. Now, normally the frequency illusion is harmless, right? Like I talked about, it's about a pair of shoes or a new car or a type of house or whatever it is that you notice that you kind of want, you're paying a little more attention to, and the brain is keeping it at the forefront of your mind. Most of the time it's harmless, but sometimes it can actually be a problem. So if you're someone who struggles with anxiety, which again, if you're listening, you probably are, or you know someone that does, frequency illusion can actually make you see a pattern of anxious thoughts where there isn't one. It can cause you to believe that something is true when it actually isn't, right? And so what happens then, it makes our symptoms worse of whatever it is that we're worried about struggling with. You have probably made up your mind that you have anxiety. What happens with this frequency illusion is you notice that these anxious thoughts in your mind are happening. And what do you think? You think they're happening all the time. You feel like they're happening constantly, multiple times a day, while your brain is actually ignoring the other type of thoughts that you're having. Your brain kind of ignores the positive thoughts, even the neutral thoughts. It throws those away and it is simply focused on these negative thoughts. And you're thinking, here's another anxious thought. Here's another anxious thought. In the same way that if those pair of shoes I want, I see them, 5 or 6 times a day, I just think, look at those shoes. Here they are again, right? This is the problem when we're talking about anxiety. The anxious thoughts stand out most, which again solidifies that belief that you're anxious, and it can create more anxiety because what happens? We get anxious about being anxious. Here's the difference between where I am now and where I was before. So, this is what I'm about to drop, this anxiety technique that could be super helpful for you to use. Now, when I notice an anxious thought, I immediately spot it, right? It's obvious for me to see, and I recognize it for exactly what it is. It is simply a thought. It is not the truth. It is not written in stone. It is not reality. It's a thought. And I get to choose my thoughts like I choose my clothes for the day. What do I mean by that? If you put on an outfit at the beginning of the day, and you don't like it. You don't like the way it looks. You don't like the way it makes you feel. You just feel blah, whatever it is. Are you going to wear that outfit for the rest of the day? No, of course you're not. You're going to take it off. You're going to change into something that you like, something that makes you feel good, something that complements your coloring, whatever it is, however you choose your outfit, something that's comfortable. That's how I choose my outfits. But you're going to take off that outfit you don't like and you're going to put on something that you do like. The same idea goes for your thoughts. When you have a negative thought, when you have an anxious thought, instead of wearing it all day, believing it to be true, you change it out. You go, oh, not what I want to think, not how I want to feel, not true. And you change that thought to something different. You choose to focus on a new thought. Now, I know maybe that feels a little bit impossible for you right now. You've probably been struggling with anxiety for a while, and you think, okay, if it was that simple, everybody would do it. And I get it. It takes practice. It does take time. This was not something that came easy to me in the beginning. I probably would have rolled my eyes as someone if they told me this in the beginning. And this is not the end all be all, right? There are many other steps that I'll teach you inside of my program, Empowered and Free from Anxiety. The more you practice, the better you get. And you can do this in seconds too, just like I do this now in seconds. So I hope that tip gives you a little more understanding into how the brain works. The things that you choose to believe, the things that you spend your time focusing on become your reality because they're top of mind. We have this frequency illusion that comes into play. What you get to do is focus on a different reality. You focus on the reality where you get to choose your thoughts. Again, I teach you all of this and truly so much more inside of Empowered and Free from Anxiety. I'm going to share a little bit more information with you right now about that program. And then after I'm done, I'm going to dive into the second trick that the brain plays on you and how this impacts your anxiety. Friend, I know you're tired of anxiety controlling your life. You're tired of that tight grip that it seems to have on you. You're tired of letting anxiety hold you back from the life you want to live. I know that your deepest fears, worries, and regrets keep you up at night. I know that you constantly think you're a failure. I know that you beat yourself up every single time you make a mistake. And I even know about those worst case scenario thoughts that flood your brain all the time. You can't seem to turn off that part of you that is always overthinking a situation, always planning, always controlling and perfecting. And I know you're tired of believing all of those negative thoughts running rampant in your head every single day. Well, I think I have a solution that could help. Empowered and Free from Anxiety will help you take back your one and only precious life from anxiety. You'll finally learn how to feel less anxious, how to live your life as that carefree version of yourself that you used to be. You'll learn how to release control, how to be present, how to be mindful in those little moments in life that you can't get back. You'll have energy, joy, excitement again for life. And you'll finally go for those secret goals that you've been too scared to share with anyone else. You'll feel confident in yourself. You'll feel proud of who you are, and you'll know you're good enough exactly as you are. And that's all because of the step-by-step process that you'll learn inside of Empowered and Free from Anxiety to take back your life. I created this program as a way to help people who are where I once was. People who are ready to feel better, people who are tired of struggling with high-functioning anxiety. The Empowered and Free program will help you finally learn how to feel free from your anxiety. And here's how we do it. I'll walk you through a simple step-by-step process that will help you take action against your anxiety without the overwhelm. I break down exactly how to heal your anxiety into bite-sized pieces. I walk you through my proven method that will help you know exactly what to do if you have an anxious thought. And I do all of this by teaching you the right tools for your anxiety. When you finish Empowered and Free from Anxiety, you'll leave with a toolbox of tools, and you'll feel confident on how and when exactly to use them. But even deeper than that, I teach you how to get to the root of your anxiety to heal from those things that caused you to feel anxious in the first place. What happens here is you feel a baseline of peace, calm, safety from within, so that anxiety doesn't have that control over you that it once had. And as a result, you feel lighter, happier, and relaxed. This program was created with you in mind. I promise you, I know you're busy. I am too. We don't have time to waste. You don't have years in therapy trying to figure out why you're anxious. You need something that's to the point, that's concise, and that is effective. I know you want to see that difference in your life fast, and that's exactly what I deliver inside of Empowered and Free from Anxiety. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. The doors open March 13th through March 17th, 2023. And our first session is on March 19th. Let's get going, right? There are only 20 spots, so make sure you get in first if this is right for you. If you're ready to follow a simple step-by-step process that's proven to help you feel less anxious. If you're ready to live life as that carefree version of yourself again, and if you're ready to finally enjoy this one and only beautiful life that we have as that happier, lighter, more relaxed version of you, then make sure you join us. Do not miss this opportunity. I'm honestly not sure when I'm going to open up this again, and so you need to hop in if this is calling to you. Here's the reality, my friend. You could be living a life with less anxiety by the summertime. Who doesn't want that, right? If you are ready to join us, if you want to get in as soon as you can, head to heyerinkimbrell.com/free to claim one of those 20 spots. I am here for you all the way. I am rooting for you. I am ready for you to live a life with less anxiety. And I cannot wait to have you inside of Empowered and Free from Anxiety. I'll see you soon. All right, we have talked about the first trick that the brain plays on you and why avoiding your anxious thoughts doesn't actually work. Let's dive in to the second trick that the brain plays on you. I want to start with an example for this one because I want you to feel it and kind of work through it in your own mind. Here goes. Don't think of a blue car. What was the first thing that came to your mind? I bet it was an image of a blue car in your mind. That's probably what came to mind when I said that. This is why. And here's the trick. Your unconscious mind doesn't process negatives. And the word don't is a negative. Let me break this down a little bit more and help you understand. So the unconscious mind, sometimes we call it the subconscious mind. I'm referring to the same part of your mind right now. The unconscious mind is the part of your mind that controls about 95% of what you do every single day. The conscious mind, that is the part of the mind that we feel like we're in control of. We're actively making decisions from our knowing out of our conscious mind. I'm not going to go too deep into this today. I'm trying to keep it easy, to understand. But our unconscious or subconscious mind controls 95% of what we do. It is essentially our autopilot. It is the way that you get in your car and you drive, and before you know it, you're at work and you don't even really remember fully driving there. Yet you took all the right turns, you stopped at all the right lights, right? Our mind is on autopilot so much of the time, and that's that subconscious mind coming into play. Right now, your autopilot is set on anxiety. Again, another huge thing we talk about inside of Empowered and Free from Anxiety. Another key to change here is making changes in your subconscious mind. Let me explain a little bit deeper this belief that the unconscious mind doesn't process negative statements. This is something that's from NLP, which is also called neuro-linguistic programming. They have studied the brain and the mind and how it works in depth. Back to our example, when I said, don't think of a blue car. Even if I say it right now, does that blue car pop up in your mind? Or have you kind of caught on and maybe this time you thought of a different color car? Or you had just you tried your hardest not to think of that blue car? For most of us, our mind is going to combine those words, blue and car, and that's what it hears. It doesn't hear the don't, right? And that blue car, that image is created in our mind. You didn't think of a blue tree. You thought of a blue car. Here's some other examples. Anybody a parent on here? You guys know I have 2 kids and they are almost 12 and 8. So I've been doing this parenting thing for a little bit of time here. If you tell your child not to do something, what do they do? Let me give you an example. So my kids' chores are the dishes. They have other things, but that's their main chore. So when we say, don't forget to do the dishes, guess what thing they tend to forget? They forget to do the dishes, of course. Instead, what we can do here is we can take out that negative word, the don't or the not. So I could say, hey guys, reminder, do the dishes by the end of the night. Let me give an example for a non-parenting example here. At work, let's say you have to run a meeting or you have staff members that work for you. Instead of saying, don't be late to the meeting, say, make sure you're on time. Or you can say, please be there 10 minutes early. Because now you know that the subconscious mind does not process those negatives. So how does this brain trick impact anxiety? When you try to avoid that anxiety, when you tell yourself things like, oh, I'm not going to think about that. I'm not going to think about whatever your fear is, whatever your worry is, whatever your anxiety is, whatever that thing is stressing you out. I'm not going to think about that. Or maybe you even say, I'm not going to feel anxious today. It sets you up to do exactly that. If we take out the nots or the don'ts, you're setting yourself up to fail. Oh, that's tough, right? But you didn't know. Now you know this brain trick. Working with your mind is a really important concept that I teach inside of Empowered and Free from Anxiety. The language that we speak to ourselves is incredibly important. Our thoughts become our reality. Whatever you believe will happen. So I'll teach you to learn how to work with your brain. Again, going back to what is the brain's purpose and Episode 14, the brain's job is to protect you. It's to keep you safe. It's to help you survive. How do we work with that brain? Instead of thinking the brain is the enemy, how can you become a friend to this brain that you're given and use it for good? Use it to help you move throughout your day, throughout your life in the way that you want to. Notice when it's being a little bit tricky. I give you a whole list of cognitive distortions. Those are essentially the same thing, tricks that your brain is playing on you so that you can notice it, because awareness is the first step. If you don't know, how can you help yourself? All right, my friend, I hope today's episode was helpful. Now you know why just simply trying to avoid your anxious thoughts doesn't actually work. You know all about the frequency illusion. You know all about how your unconscious mind doesn't even process negatives. And again, this is the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more that I can explain, and I would love to do it and teach you how to feel free from your anxiety. Join us inside of Empowered and Free from Anxiety, and I will show you that and so much more. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Hey, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. You don't know how much it means to me. If you'd like more behind the scenes content, inspiration, and daily reminders that encourage and uplift you, follow me on Instagram at heyerinkimbrell and send me a DM to say hey. If any of the episodes have been super helpful for you, please consider leaving me a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you like to listen. It helps me so incredibly much, and it allows the podcast to be seen by other people who need it. If you want to learn more from me, head to heyerinkimbrell.com. That's where you'll find all my free resources, read the podcast show notes, and learn more information about my online coaching and breathwork programs that help you create the life you want. If you want to keep the conversation going from today's episode, join us in our exclusive podcast Facebook community, Empowered and Free, Help for High Functioning Anxiety. I'm here for you, and I'm always cheering you on. I'll see you next time. I'm Erin Kimbrell, and this is the Empowered and Free podcast.